Welcome, my friends, and you are listening to Robb Radio. This is the very first episode of what I am doing now, not only to talk about things that matter to me, but share some music with you that I have written and music that I love. Maybe share some memories and have some guests on and talk about the world in all its many splendors. All right, well, let's get started. The song you just heard was called, well, the intro to the song you just heard was called Let It Rain from the Folkster. The Folkster came about as a way to express what I was hoping to do with a folk album. Some people say that I failed horribly at the folk album, and they said it sounds like a Some Guy Named Robb album trying to be folky. And I said, and then in which case, that's exactly what I was trying to do. Not quite the hipster, not quite the folker, but maybe the folkster? All right. So we're going to let that play for a little bit. I want you to hear this song. One of my favorite lines in this song is just a simple one. It says, "No, he never said sorry, and no, he never will. But come on now, it's time to let it go."
Come on now, you got to let it go. There's gonna be rain, there's always rain. It's gonna be alright someday. It's gonna be rain, just let it rain. But you got to let it go. Said sorry. No, he never will. Well, come on now, it's time to let it go. Take out that knife, still in your chest. Well, come on now, you got to let it go. There's always rain. It's gonna be alright someday. It's gonna be rain, so let it rain. Yeah, you got to let it go. It's gonna be rain. There's always rain. It's gonna be alright someday. It's gonna be rain, so let it rain. Yeah, you got to let it go. It's time to let it go. You got to let it go. You got to let it go.
And those angel voices that you hear are none other than Judith Stewart and my good friend Adriana West, both amazing and talented singers. I find their voices to be so soothing, and I knew that whenever I wanted to, what I wanted to do with the Folkster is to have some rich harmonies. So I invited them, and I have a plethora of people I know that could have filled in with some beautiful vocals. The way it turned out, though, I was so very pleased that the scheduling and everything, the way it worked out to have them both. I think Adriana now is on her way back to her home in Zambia, Africa, and so to have her on this album after touring for so many years with her was an incredible treat. And Judith is an amazing girl that I've got to know through singing with the Grace Fellowship Church and the Stewart's family. Amazing, wonderful, talented family. News that I just happened to catch in my Facebook feed, which I'm so thankful they don't do the Facebook news anymore, because there was so much fake news that was constantly just a stream of fake news being shared, which is the reason why they stopped doing it. I was so happy to hear whenever they decide to just not do news and let it just be about people. But of course, people talk about news, and that's what I saw today. And I saw that the Methodist Church was on the verge, I guess, of deciding about whether or not same-sex marriages and clergy members being LGBTQ, if that was going to be allowed within the overall Methodist Church. And I know there's a lot of anxiety that is attached to this for several reasons. People who believe in the Bible believe that it is the infallible Word of God, and any errancy is actually on the part of the reader. And I've experienced this in the sense that I've read, and as I've read, I've had questions and things did not seem to make sense. And then I continued to read, and the things that didn't make sense when contextualized and put in the actual space of the content of what the entire book is actually saying. Those questions for me anyway, they were answered, and I did not feel that same agitation as when I first read through. And so I feel maybe like a lot of things in life, if we find ourselves confused, maybe if we push in a little further to try to understand and approach it in a humble manner rather than in an arrogant one, then we're more likely to find the reasoning behind it. Having said that, though, I suppose anyway, it would be the church's job to maintain the authenticity of the record that they consider the inspired Word of God, and that it hasn't, while it's had many different interpretations, the theme of it has not changed in 2,000 years. Now, of course, all this is up for discussion and debate, but since I'm the only person here drinking my hot tea, I agree with myself. The theme to me, when I read the Bible, the theme is it's love and redemption. Not everybody reads it that way. Not everybody interprets it that way. Some people see it and they go on killing sprees. And that's in there. I mean, David killed his thousands and his tens of thousands. But is that contextually what that was about? No, not at all. Anyway, so we get back to the LGBTQ thing, and I think this morning I was thinking about this, and I wrote something down, and I thought, I'm going to add this to Robb Radio and just see if this is a new way to discuss my thoughts and feelings on it. So here it is. Love people. And when you're done with them because they've disappointed you, and they've hurt you, and they've betrayed you, then love them still. When you run out of patience, out of forgiveness, when you run out of love, then you must no longer love like a human, but rather like God Himself. We must use His love. Remember, it was while Jesus was being crucified, He prayed to His Father and asked Him to pardon the people who were literally nailing His hands to the cross. This is a hard goal when we can so easily feel embittered and empowered to act upon enmity rather than love, to act upon offense rather than love. But choose love anyway. Don't do it because it's easy, because it's not. Don't do it with a bumper sticker meme mentality, but rather purposefully, with insight, with wisdom, and with grace. The same grace that you would hope others would apply to you. Love because you are loved, and you have always been loved, and you always will be loved by your Heavenly Father. So maybe that will help some people, just steer them back to the important part of, I think, what the Bible's trying to say, what Jesus' message is. All right, so moving on to Robb Radio. It wouldn't be much radio if I didn't put some music in here. So here we go. This is an unreleased track from my friend Chris Kaler and I, and it's a cover called Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I don't think we even finished this, but we sure had fun with this part. Enjoy.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing here will last forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. There's no room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. Lightning do, I'll be right beside you. So glad we almost made it. So sad they had to fade it. Everybody wants to rule the world. I can't stand this indecision. Married with a lack of vision. Everybody wants to rule the world. Say that you'll never, 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 never leave me. One headline, why believe it? Everybody wants to rule the world. As for freedom and for pleasure, something has to last forever. Everybody wants to rule the world.
How the fun you can have in a studio knows no ends. Now, clearly, we didn't write that song. That was Tears for Fears in the 1980s. And it's one of those songs, whenever it comes on, almost regardless, the actual version, when it comes on, I am compelled to listen to it in its entirety and just adore everything about it. I can't. It's something so capturing that you just can't look away from it. You can't make myself stop. So we had a great time with that. Chris Kaler is one of my best friends. You know, we have recorded music together since Everything Is Nothing, which was my second album. And he taught me out of putting a lot of curse words on the album. And looking back on it, that was good because I had kids, and it's hard to say, hey, listen, don't use these words like Daddy does. So it was nice, and I want to have him on the Robb Radio because he's a music producer, and he has a couple of bands. One is Bane's End, which you can find on Spotify, and if you dig 30 Seconds to Mars, then you're gonna dig what he's doing. It's amazing. I think he's got his finger right on the pulse of what modern music sounds like, which I don't know if that's a compliment. I compliment him for the skill, the ability. We've been working on some tracks together on this new project of mine called Black Stripe. And that is, we'll talk more about Black Stripe. I want you to get to know him. But right now, he's the arch nemesis of the Folkster. So this is what I've seen. And Chris is amazing. Chris is Krys. Kaler is Keylor. So you can find him under Bane's End on Instagram, and you might be able to find him on the old Facebook. Speaking of which, if you guys don't know what my website is, it's sgnrobb.com, some guy named Rob.com. And if you haven't stopped by there and said hello to me and signed up for the email list so that you get the free song, which I'm not even sure what the free song is anymore because it changes. But I suggest you do that. Hey, it's free. It might even be like one or two songs. I don't remember. So do that, and that way I can keep up with you via email, and you can keep up with me and tell me how you're doing, and I'll tell you how I'm doing. All right, so as far as episode 1 of Robb Radio, I have no idea how to do this, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay knowing that 6 people may listen to this, and it may be a complete failure, but I don't have a problem. I do have a problem with not trying something. So, one of the things I want to talk about is for these up and coming musicians, a lot of musicians ask me, how can I do what you're doing? How can I make a living playing music? And the answer is so ever changing. It's not just one answer. It's not a simple, quick. Oh, well, you just go out and play some shows and sell some CDs. And 10 years ago, that would have been great. 5 years ago, manageable. Now, it truly is a different marketplace. So that's something I'm going to touch on. I want to have the freedom to talk about all the things that are on my mind, especially when it comes to life and family and all that. So this is going to be a good place for me to do that. Don't know how long these are supposed to be. Haven't thought that far in advance. But, to do something is better than to do nothing. I went for a walk this morning, and it was beautiful. It was cold, but I like the cold versus the sweaty hot heat. And I walked for I don't know, maybe a mile and a half, and it was, my wife is a runner, and so she can run like a mile in 9 minutes and some odd seconds. And I don't even think she's even pushing herself. I think she could go beyond that, but she likes to run at a nice about a 10-minute pace. Just ran her first 15K, and I'm so incredibly impressed with her and her running buddies. They are tenacious. So I guess out of shame, I went and just to see if I could walk. And I'm just gonna be honest with you right now, the time was less than impressive. It was maybe like 30 minutes for a mile and a half. Not impressive at all. Then again, it was more of a stroll. I wasn't trying to break any records. I wasn't running. It was just a good old-fashioned walk. So I encourage my people out there, if all you can do is a mile and a half in 30 minutes, actually, if all you can do is a mile and a half in 29 minutes, then you're really doing better than me. So one thing I learned that I carry with me, art sometimes teaches us things if we pay attention, even whenever it doesn't mean for us to. I was watching World War Z, the zombie movie with Brad Pitt, and he's talking to the Spanish family that let him in the door and kind of helped him out in that part of the movie. And he says, "El movimiento es vida." And I always remember that. Movement is life. I think that if we're not moving forward, we're moving backward. I think that's part of entropy. I think that's how it all works. But I think that if we're moving, then we're moving forward. So if you're having a hard time getting around today, I would just say, keep moving. Just keep moving. All right, I'm going to play another song. Let's see, what should I play? I feel like a DJ, which is another thing that I do. I DJ this weekend, and it was so much fun. Did the Christ Teens event at the Center for the Arts. Hundreds of kids just having a good time, laughing, dancing. I really love the fact that the churches get together and they pull everybody in and they have a fun event like that. I didn't have fun events like that when I was growing up, and they may have been available. That's just not what I was exposed to. But I will say, I think the kids had a great time, and I think that good seeds were sown. Right on. So here is a song. Let's talk about some songs that I have to go and actually think about this. All right, how about this song? I chose a song that you guys probably haven't heard from a band that you have definitely heard of. This is Hall & Oates with the band Train, and they released a song called Philly Forget Me Not. And I'm telling you, Hall & Oates, they still have it. Daryl Hall and John Oates, they still have it. This song, if you listen to it in its entirety, you will find it is completely stuck in your head by the time it's over. This is called Philly Forget Me Not.
I've been living outside of Philly, yeah, I'm so far away. I've been gone for more than a minute. Is the neighborhood the same? All the kids on the corner, California, never had that thing. I remember a rich girl in the summer like yesterday. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Come on, Philly, don't forget me not. Forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Come on, Philly, don't forget me now.
There was music all night. Oh, and when the hands hit 11, Pennsylvania came to life. All the kids on the corner, California never had that thing. I remember rich girl in the summer like yesterday. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Come on, Philly, don't forget me. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Come on, Philly, don't forget me now. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me now. Come on, Philly, don't forget me. Every time I go away from you, I can feel my mama wait for me. Philly, I will never change on you. You ain't always sunny, honey, but you love me back. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Come on, Philly, don't forget me. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Come on, Philly, don't forget me. Just like yesterday. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Oh, Philly, come on. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Oh, Philly, don't forget me. Forget me not, forget me not, forget me not. Oh, Philly, don't forget me now. Philly, forget me not, forget me not, forget me now. Come on, Philly, don't forget me now.
Daryl Hall, John Oates, and the band Train. What can you say but wow? Those guys, I try to cover them sometimes with just my acoustic guitar, and it never, ever measures up to what I hear them sound like in my head. So you just got to expose to a little Philly Forget Me Not by Daryl Hall, John Oates, and Train. I didn't really feel Train in there, but I'm sure Train was in there somewhere. I'm just kidding. All right. My friends, I think we're coming to a close of the first episode, and I have absolutely no idea how much time it was. I've really enjoyed hanging out with you, and I've enjoyed sharing some of my music with you and sharing some of some other people's music. As we go out, I always want to remind you that I'm a musician who thinks too much, and that's pretty much why I end up writing my thoughts down, and I want to share them with you. If you guys want to support me, there's probably a ton of ways to do it. But I do appreciate every ounce of support that you give me. It helps me feed my family. It helps me keep the lights on, pay the bills, and that is a blessing. So thank you for being my pals. Thank you for hanging with me and joining me on this thing called life. As we go on, I hope that you'll continue, and I hope you share this with your friends that you think maybe need some uplifting thoughts, and hopefully some pretty sweet music to listen to on the way through the journey. All right. In case I haven't told you, you're loved beyond measure, and be wonderful. Life is now. El movimiento es vida. Keep on moving. I'm going to end this segment with one of my favorite kind of unknown bands, Bora, York. You can find them like I did on SoundCloud. And check out this jam. It's called Secret Youth. And if you dig it, go buy their stuff.